Hey, what's up? It's Y, the team captain of the CMU Rodeo team, and your host for this show.
And I'm Brandon Edwards, head coach for the CMU Rodeo team, and your co-host. Now, the Mavericks have shined in many ways over the season, but Utah State University Rodeo was a little cloudly in perspective. The rodeo was not everything we were hoping for, but to be optimistic, it could have been a lot worse. We at least ended the weekend with a few points on the board.
In this show, we will recap all of the thrills, spills, and triumphs from each weekend's rodeo. We're bringing you the most exciting moments from the arena. From heart-pounding bull rides to stunning barrel runs, we'll relive the highs, the heartbreak, and the jaw-dropping action that kept fans on the edge of their seat. Whether you missed the rodeo or just want to experience it all over again, we've got you covered. Saddle up and let's dive into the wildest rides of the Utah State University Fall Stampede. This is Rodeo Recorded. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Wiley Mitchell.
And I'm Brandon Edwards. Let's take a deep dive into the Utah State University Fall Stampede.
The tie-down roping went well this weekend. Silenaire was one of the few Mavericks to do well at this rodeo. The bridle came off his horse, Naya, during the run, and it didn't faze her one bit. He ended up 8th in the long round. He broke out in the short round, but had a beautiful loop and a nice tie. Blake Buller of SUU won the average by 5 seconds. He was a 20.0 on 2 head, and Cade Johnson trailed behind him in second with a 25.9. The breakaway roping was interesting. We didn't have anyone from our team place in the top 10. There were a few catches, but they were a little long. Skylar Draper of UVU took the win with a 6.9 second average, and she was one of the 3 girls to catch both calves clean.
Team roping was one of the highlights of the weekend. Our very own Wiley Mitchell and her partner from Snow College, Colton Winkler, were able to stop the clock in 7.9 seconds in the first round. Mitchell, pinged the barrier back, took advantage of the good steer they drew. They placed 4th in the long round. Now, Wiley threw a pretty loop in the short round, waved it off, unfortunately, in an effort to pull her slack. Hardly any teams caught in the short round, though, so they still ended up getting 10 points out of the average. The hometown Cowboys of Daniel Estrada and Lyric Phillips were the winners with a 13.4 on 2 heads with incredible times, an impressive 7.4 in the first round and 6 flat in the short go.
A lot of ladies had trouble in the goats this weekend. We had 2 Mavs clock well enough to finish within the top 10. Mackenzie Betts stopped the clock with a 9.5, and Haley Stroud wasn't far behind her with a 9.7. Neither of them had an exceptional short round, and no points were added to the board. Myself and Shay Grogan were both on the wrong side of the bubble, tying for 11th place and not getting a chance to redeem our first runs. Sam Donovan of SUU ran away with the goats. Her 6.4 second run in the first round, followed by a 6.5 in the short round, won her both rounds and the average. Now that's how you 180 a rodeo.
Our only saddle bronc rider did not get a score on either one of his horses this year, but Brian Evans has won yet again. The SUU Cowboy won the rodeo for his 4th in a row on the 24-25 season. He is virtually unstoppable, winning every college rodeo so far this year in the Rocky Mountain region. Now, I typically introduce the barrels as the best event, but my perspective has recently changed when we talk about barrel racing at the Utah State University Rodeo. All I can say is some other teams did fantastic. Ours, unfortunately, had a little bit of a rough go and did not. Riley Nugent had the fastest time of anyone on our team with an 18:26, but she, like the others, missed the cut of the short round by 1/100th of a second. Paisley Stroud into the weekend as the average champion with a 35:17 average time.
Our Mavs did, well, I don't have much to say here, but now that we've looked at each event individually, let's take a look at this week's short go photo.
Now, unfortunately, of the team members, not a single one made a point in the short round, but as Logan has been a traditionally tough place for the team to play, getting back to the short round was definitely a good start and hopefully a streak ender going forward when we look to next fall in Logan, Utah. Now, as a team, the Lady Mavericks did end up 8th out of 8 teams and gathered only a total of 40 points, all of which were made by Wiley Mitchell in the team roping. Not her signature event, but nice to have those bonus points.
Now, we talked about all the nitty-gritty details and the statistics, but before we leave, let's talk about some of our favorite moments from the weekend. I usually have a lot to say here, But to be honest, my favorite part of the Utah State University Fall Stampede is that we don't have to go back for a full year. Sorry, I've been a little pessimistic the entire show. I do have a positive. There was a jackpot breakaway roping after the slack on Saturday, and our senior Erica Blum killed it. I mean, she couldn't miss. She roped all of her calves and roped them quick. They did a short round a little different than I've ever seen it done before, and she didn't end up winning a check, but man, did she come close. I was so proud of her roping. Tennille Motts, Josie Fitzsimmons, Josie Roselle, and I all got in the jackpot. We all did a pretty good job, and I was glad we all entered. What was your favorite moment?
That it didn't rain, as it traditionally does. Logan usually is the wettest rodeo of our season, coming off the mountains. And the other part was actually watching the announcer scramble desperately as he realized he was playing from the unedited playlist on his phone.
I missed that part, and what a shame.
It was awesome.
No, I've got to say, it was great. I remember my freshman year there, we actually had a tree blow over, the power went out. It was pretty windy, so I'm glad we didn't have to deal with that again.
Yeah, and I missed the rodeo last year. I was at the CPRA finals, so
Right.
This was good to come back.
Well, that's a wrap for this weekend's Rodeo Roundup. We've seen incredible victories, heart-stopping misses, and the kind of grit that makes rodeo one of the most thrilling sports around. Thanks for joining us as we relived the highs and lows of the arena. And don't forget to tune in for the next episode for more rodeo recaps. I'm your host, Wiley Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Brandon Edwards.
And if you enjoyed watching this week, why stop now? We'll see you on the next episode of Rodeo Recorded.